What is up, Internet? I am Taylor. Today is, well, when I'm recording this, maybe not when you're watching it, because time is a flat circle. Hakuna Matata. Today's October 6th. This is a stack of comic books I read this week. I bought them this week. They're the new releases for this week, and I'm going to let you know what I thought about them. Well, I'm something like Rockin' Robbie Phillips, who I can't help it. The dude's been doing it for 5 years every week, and mad props to you, sir. That takes some stamina. Anyways, this is my own little spin on things. My weekly comic book review show. I'm gonna go from worst to best, like always, and spoilers. This wasn't that bad a week for comics. If you want to hear me rant and rave, I'm sure there'll be some of that in here. But honestly, it wasn't a horrible week. Whoopsie. Which is good. Honestly, I like liking comics. I know sometimes I come across as cranky, but I really do like to enjoy what I read, and I want the medium to be great. And I want comic books to be great. Not all of them are. Anyway, let's get into it. The worst book of the week, or the one I liked the least. I probably should phrase it like that, because whatever. Batman, whatever number this is, 114. It's called Almost the End of Time, and thank God. It's not horrible. It's the Fear State. Jorge Jimenez's art is solid, although I don't think this is his strongest issue for it. It's just kind of like there's nothing that's really been surprising me in this. And it's just kind of seems like Titan's trying to be clever and get all these chess pieces into motion, and you're sort of like, oh well, I can see that coming because the knight can only move this and this, and so it's going to go there. And so yeah, like all the pieces he sort of set up in his run are all coming to fruition, but it's just not that exciting a fruition. That's not how words work, right? Anyways, yeah, it's all right. It's not bad. It's just, not great. It's fine. Speaking of fine and not great and whatever, this is look a cover that's beating a dead horse to death. Yes, Amazing Spider-Man number 75. This is the first issue without Nick Spencer, so that's a positive. It's Zeb Wells doing the main lifting on this, and it's all right. It's there's yet another mysterious new corporation in the Marvel universe that might or might not be good and is funding things, and then there's Ben Riley and the Spider Clone, and that's a little bit of spoilers, but why not? It's just when it's sort of like if you have your first chance to make an impression on a character, right? You have your first shot at it. I think you should really knock it out of the park and really do something fantastic and like set up like a banger of a first issue. And this is not. It's all right. It's a weird way to introduce the new storyline. It doesn't seem like that exciting a storyline to introduce. I'm gonna give it one or two more issues just for the benefit of the doubt because Zeb Wells does some entertaining stuff, but like I was not that entertained. Also, I just don't give a shit about Ben Riley, so I don't know. It is that. All right. Adventure Man number 5. This might be higher on the list if I reread the first 4, but I was kind of lost. I like it started with an action sequence, and it's been so damn long since this book came out that like I didn't remember a lot of the setup, and I didn't remember that like somehow there's a weird like superhero team going on now. I'm like, when did that happen? Uh, Dotson's art's great, and it for being what it is, it's a solid adventure story. Matt Fraction can still write. He's not. I haven't loved anything he's done in the past couple of years. I've really like loved some of his stuff before that. This is solid. It's just kind of. It's probably gonna get pushed to a trade paperback weight for me because they at the end of this they just say they're gonna be writing in clumps for trade paperback. So I'm like, okay, I'll just pick up the trade paperback and it's all said and done then, and not have this confusion hopefully. Because like yeah, it's just kind of and now I can go back. It's been so, like I said, it's been months. It feels like it's been at least maybe 6 months, maybe not, but it feels like it since the last issue. And so I'm like, okay, I'll have to go back and reread it, which I don't mind doing. I like reading. Obviously, I like reading comics, but I also kind of like don't like the necessarily always like, oh, it's a monthly comic and I'm lost because it hasn't been out in months. But it is what it is. All right, out number 1. Uh, by Rob Williams and Will Conrad, AWA Upshots. I don't know. I don't say that for all these. It's just kind of I happen to read it. Uh, Interesting idea. The protagonist himself, I think, is going to be an interesting character. Although uh, the end pages give you more details about this character than are actually present in the writing of the book, which is a little odd choice for me. The Will Conrad's art reminds me of Mike Deodato's art. It's like very dark and fairly realistic and gritty. The story there just isn't much to it in this first issue, really. It's a setup issue, And the setup does kind of all come at the end. And I wish there was just a little more going on. There's a few panels in here where I'm like, what is going? Like a few confusing panels too, where I'm just like, that's a weird transition. That doesn't always seem to. Like, what is going on with this story? And then that little chunk gets dropped, and it goes on something else, and then at the end you kind of like sort of learn what's up and weird, and it's like a mishmashing of genres. It's Halloween. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's coming out at this time of year, I'm sure, for a reason. It's fine. Probably trade paperback. Wait for me again as well. All right. This next one I really, 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 really wanted to like more than I did, and I really wanted to like the cover more than I did. This is just me nitpicking too, but it's what I do, folks. This is Chicken Devil #1, and from here it looks really cool. I dig it. It's Brian Bucalato and Hayden Sherman with Hassan Otamati Al How on lettering, and I'm sure I butchered that last name. I apologize. Uh, Here's the thing: like, if you look at this really closely, I'm not sure if it's showing up on cam. It blurs into like a Photoshop blur in the background of the image, and like the gun gets into focus. And I get use the technology you have available, right? And sure, it's just kind of it seems like it's a lazy excuse for bad inking in this case, and I don't like the stylistic choice. And the art is kind of and some of the transitions here kind of bug me. Like it's just the plot straight up lifted from riffing on Breaking Bad, and they acknowledging it in here. It's just the images are very static, and like they're not in traditional comic book boxes all the time, which is fine. They don't need to be, but like it's an odd choice. The art reminds me of like sort of like Riley Rossmo, who I'm not a fan of either generally, but it's just kind of yeah. And then the lettering is kind of all over the map too. There's like the font shifts from like left to right italicization, and like the sizes all shift, and it's just I don't know, everything about this book seems like a bizarre choice to me, and I don't hate the plot. It's kind of going to be a revenge book with a guy in a chicken suit. What's not to like? It's just the way it's being presented. Just didn't care for it a whole lot. It's fine, like everything else, it's fine. It's just not my. I really had high hopes for this. I really was like, oh, that'll probably be my book of the week, and have that problem sometimes. Like, and that's why I don't do preview shows. I don't like and I don't tend to watch a lot of them either because you go into these expectations for the week, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna be great. Let's spec on this. Let's read it. It's gonna be fantastic. Then you read it, and like, oh, that was kind of meh. And so I don't want to have a show where it's like, hey, this is what you should get this week. And then you read it and you're like, that wasn't very good. Dickhead Taylor. Don't be a dick. Don't recommend shit you don't like. That's why I do this after I read the folks. And I know not everyone does it. And I know people just like have videos where they show what they got for the week. And that's fantastic. That's great. That's everything. But like what I'm trying to do is just give you my very biased opinion as to what I thought of the books. And you can take it for what it's worth. If you agree with me, not. If not, let me know in the comments. Argue with me. Fight with me. That's perfect. I'd love it. But I just don't. What I'm trying to do is just, at least hopefully provide a little value. I don't know. That's just okay. Enough of that rant. Speaking of Zeb Wells, Hellions #16. This series is about to end, and it's getting long in the tooth. I really still don't hate it, and we're into the part of the stack where it's like fine plus maybe, very fine, whatever. If you're gonna use comic analogies all the way through this shit, it's be a long video. It's not bad. The art by Segovia, it seemed to take a step down this week, and it might be a substitute artist. I can't even tell. It's just sort of a filler issue, which is a weird choice because there's only 2 issues left, I think, of this series, and I'm sure they're wrapping up to some kind of ish finale. But I don't think it's going to have a lot of consequences. Which it's sort of the Hellions have been like the side players in this whole Krakoan mess, anyways. So it seems fitting that it's a little bit of a side book, but I just wish. And part of this is just a problem with the X-Men in general. When you take away death, you take away consequences, and like there's not a lot of consequences that are felt here. Although Psylocke is going through some loss, and that's a real loss, and that I wish they would delve into that a little bit more instead of it. And they sort of delve into it, and they do, but it's just kind of that. I wish that would just been the focus of the issue. Instead, it's sort of a light, jokey romp, like it always kind of is. Some of the threads are starting to come together. I'll read it till the end. And it's still solid, but I thought the beginning run of Hellions was a lot stronger, and it's kind of fizzling towards the end. All right, what is this? Arkham City: The Order of the World. If there's a more 1990s cover than this week, I don't know it, but yeah, it's written by Dan Waters, art by Danny called by Dave Stewart, and this is sort of told from the point of view of a doctor at Arkham and trying to deal with everybody that escapes, and that doctor might have a deep dark secret. It's a horror book. Is this Black Label? I don't know. It might actually be in continuity. There's characters here I don't know, and there's some I do. There's a lot of villains, and the sort of chasing down of the villains all escaped after Joker did his shenanigans. Because Joker does shenanigans, and it ripples throughout the DC verse. I don't know, whatever. It's decent. The art reminds me a lot of like Frank Miller. The coloring is sort of brighter than that a bit, but it has like just tinges of Frank Miller, and the writing. It's a well paced kind of like horror craft with a reveal at the end that all might not be as it seems, because nothing's ever as it seems. All right, another weird DC book for the week. Next one is Soul Plumber. This I'm pretty sure is Dark Label, and I'm really kind of surprised DC made it. It's sort of making fun of like zealot Christians, and I'm all down with that because they're all wackos. And get the damn shot, people. Seriously, get the shot. I mean, by the shot, I mean the vaccine. Just goddamn dude ready. Hit the thumbs down. I don't give a shit. But like, whatever. Just wear a mask. Don't be a dick. Tangent. Zealot Christian, misguided, being misguided and led by televangelists to do something stupid. And it's sort of a like weird parody on things, and over the top, kind of reminds me of like Keith Giffen a little bit with the artwork and stuff. And it's an interesting enough premise. I don't want to spoil a whole lot of it, but the guy's a soul plumber trying to save people at a gas station for Jesus. And I'm not sure I'm going to read another one of this either. It might be a trade weight. It might be a digital read for me. It might be something along those lines. The art is by Wolfgang Zabrowski, I believe. There's a couple filler pages, but they're hidden in there. And yeah, it's an interesting choice. It reads as like an indie book, which is not a bad thing. It's just kind of like I said, I'm just surprised DC made this one. It's a middle of the stack book for the week. All right, Dark Age is number 2. This is Tom Taylor's what if all the power went out in the Marvel Universe kind of thing. And issue 1 tells how it went out, and issue 2 is some of the repercussions. Fast forward. And humanity and mutant anatomy and I don't know, the Marvel world's all dealing with it. And then villains, because you can't have a book on villains. It's entertaining. Tom Taylor knows how to tell these kind of romps where it's just kind of like, yeah, it's a alternate thing as far as what happens in the Marvel universe, and like he's just playing around in the playground and having fun with these characters. It's not going to have any repercussions because it's not a part of continuity, and I think this is all meant to come out like about 2 years ago. Then COVID happened. Did I mention get the shot and wear a mask? Just saying. The art by Coelho is solid. This will be a fun romp too. And I probably should just wait for the trades on it, but this one I'll probably pick up because I'm enjoying it enough. Although I really hate the logo for whatever reason. The logo just seems like it's a part of a bad 90s metal band, like a really bad one. And I get that's probably what they're going for, but it just bugs me. Also, you notice Apocalypse being sinister in the background? Yeah, that's not a spoiler. All right. Last Flight out number 2. Holy crap, Dark Horse, you cheap sons of bitches. This is the cheapest, like, honestly, the paper quality and everything else, this book is a mess from that standpoint. It's just very thin, very flimsy, and dear God, how broke are you, Dark Horse? Because, like, this is actually a fairly quality book, but, like, print it on quality paper and give it a little bit of cover stock to it, because, man, probably going to get trade weighted just for that reason, because the quality of the printing is just, I mean, the printing itself, it actually holds up in uncoated stock and all that. And the art's solid. And the story, like, everyone's leaving the earth because it's all gone to shit. It's a trope now. I get it. There's like 25 different books out that are post-apocalyptic like this. This is pretty well done. The dad's trying to find an estranged daughter. Happens to be the architect for the ships that are going to maybe save humanity. And the daughter, he's on a hunt for his daughter because, well, he wants to get her on the last boat out. The last flight out, as it were. See, look, there you go. I like issue 2 better than issue 1. I think it's ramped up better, and I think the characters are getting fleshed out a little bit more. And you get a little bit of backstory and a little bit of reasoning. And then some of the side characters aren't as one-dimensional as I kind of thought they might be after the first issue. So, pleasant surprise, but it's getting pushed to the trade because, like, I am not giving Dark Horse $4 for tissue paper. Fuckers. All right, Crush and Lobo number 5. This is fun. Crush, I mean, there's no Lobo in this, really. It's just Crush dealing with daddy issues. And, yeah, I'm down for it. Like, it's not going to break any, probably win the awards. It's not going to, like, change the world. But, like, this is a fun escapist comic. And part of it is Crush is having to escape from jail after her dad locked her up in the by trickery, because Crush's Lobo's daughter, in case you didn't know. Spoilers. Bright, fun coloring. A little bit, not a whole lot of twists and turns, but a few unexpected little things happening here, and it's a fun ride. This is the kind of superhero book I kind of enjoy, is when it's a fun, yeah, like, oh, you had a crappy day, read a fun little book. It's a fun little book. Firepower number, whatever the hell number is it? 16. Holy crap! This one. Okay, you probably can trade paperback weight Firepower too, because like they're all very quick reads, and they're all solid. I've not had a bad issue of this book. I've not had a. There's been fun. Some of them are better than others, and it's just kind of like a martial arts action flick by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney, and there's a lot of action and a lot of like curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal, or hey, there's the next world-ending apocalypse. And it's like bang, 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 bang. And this is the next world-ending apocalypse. Like, there's not a lot of breathing room in this series. There's a little bit, a few moments, but then it's like right to the next calamity. And I like it. I like the breakneck pacing. It really kind of reminds me of like what a good Iron Fist show series, whatever, should be. But it's not technically Iron Fist, because that'd be copyright infringement, folks. And it's got a flaming fist. It's not iron. It's flame, aka firepower. Oh, and there's snakes. Snakes are cool. All right, The Me Love in the Dark, number 3. Slow burn horror book with artists and art. This is the creepiest issue of this book, and I mean that in a positive way. Scotty Young's just telling a weird little tale, and it's a little story about a woman that goes to live in a house that's haunted, and to revitalize her artistic career, and turns out that the haunted house might be in love with her, and or vice versa. And it's a twisted little thing. There's not a ton that happens in it, but it's atmospheric. I love Jorge Corona's art, and I'd kind of just love to see where this one's going to go. I think this is only a 5-issue series too. It's another one you probably can wait for in the trade paperback, and I wouldn't be surprised if this got badly optioned and badly turned into a TV show, because I don't think it'll translate super well. But I'm enjoying it. I know this one's not for everybody, but I really am digging it. So yeah, there you have it. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there, folks. It's been kind of a quick one this week. I think, maybe, I don't know. Time is all relative. It's a flat circle. Hakuna Matata. I think I said that already, right? Rewind. Let me know. Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, number 1. This is probably the most gorgeous book of the week. Andre Lima Araujo. I'm sorry. I apologize for my pronunciation of the last name. Art is fantastic. It's a Rick Remender plot and story, mostly wordless. And I know, like another reviewer I watched, maybe it was, Rockin' Robbie Billups on his thing last night, said that there was not a lot that happened here. There's really kind of not, but I'm okay with that. I don't always need every issue to be packed with everything, and I think this is like a good atmospheric setup for this. I'm looking forward to see where it goes next. The art alone has me sold, and there is enough that happens. It kind of reminds me, not artistically, but the same idea as like a Shaolin Cowboy by Jeff Jarrows, where just not a lot happens, but the art is so damn gorgeous. You're like, okay, and that's kind of where this is for me. I want to see if this happens. You probably can or should, like, I know I've said this a lot this week, but I'm trying to save you folks money too. Invest in Bitcoin and Dogecoin and meme coin and NFTs and VV or whatever the hell, or just buy trade paperbacks. They're usually cheaper than the books. I know everyone's specking on these individual issues, but 99% of specs are garbage. My own little diatribe here. Read books because you like them. Buy the book, read the book, like the book, hate the book. But buying books just to spec on it for whether or not it turns into stuff is just a bizarre concept for me. I know a lot of people do it, and you each your own. More power to you. Look, see? This gets into focus. Everything else gets blurred in the background, like that chicken cover. Except for this is just the camera. And that was just a weird Photoshop trick instead of inking it properly. All right, I'm done. Well, I'm done. I'm not done. I have 2 more left, but I'm getting close to done. The Swamp Thing, number 8 of 10. I'm going to miss this when it's done, although it is coming back. It is Ram V, Sean Perkins, and Sean Spicer. A lot of Seans. It's a Shawnee mix. And you can sort of, this, like, I know I've talked about this before, but if you're not watching before, you can sort of tell the Suicide Squad got shoehorned into this Swamp Thing mini. But Ram V really makes it work. And it's an atmospheric tale, and this is more of the origin of the Swamp Thing, the new Swamp Thing, and I like it. It's not, it's paying homage to some of the Alan Moore stuff and the Bernie Wrightson and all that, but like it's its own beast, and it definitely has Ron V's fingerprints on it. If you read a few of the other Ron V books and stuff, you can sort of tell it's got the moral tale, the morality that Ron V tends to inject into stories, and it's nice. It's not fun. It's dark. You got to do first appearance in here. Well, technically not probably first appearance, but first bad guy. And you're learning why bad guy. The bad guy might not be wrong, but whatever. And yeah, the art fantastic, the coloring fantastic. Any of these last couple probably could be the book of the week. Really, from say the Me Love in the Dark onward, they all probably could be. But I wanted to make a point, and well, I don't know, just make a clever little gimmick, folks, and have the worst book of the week and the best book of the week be by the same writer, James Tynion. Yeah, that's right. Nice House on the Lake, number 5. This is I think I think I can safely say this. I think every issue of the Nice House on the Lake that has come out has been my favorite to date. So I think it's getting better. And I think this is the best issue to date. And there's like revelations that come in every issue. And like you're sort of like putting together bits and pieces of a puzzle. There's a tangent, but there's a conceptual artist named Lawrence Werner who has a word painting called, I don't know what it's called, but it's the way it reads is like bits and pieces put together to form a semblance of a whole. And that's Tynion in all his stuff. Like honestly, he likes to move around the chessboard and put them together. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's Batman. This really works for me. I think the art pairs really well. Alvaro Bueno's art, dark and moody. Although this is probably one of the brighter issues of it, even though it is still dark and moody. And like it's the survivors and dealing with like what might be the last beat of humanity and whether or not they're being trapped by aliens or in a spaceship. And the characters all talk about this. There's a lot of dialogue in this, but it's effectively used this time around. And like, yeah, it's a Tynion sandwich. You get the worst, you get the best, and it's all the same writer. So it's kind of baffling to me. Although I think, and they're both in DC, so it's just sort of like, I wouldn't be surprised if editorial had something to do with the Batman being as annoying as it is, but it's Tynion like on that too. He has to own up to some of it, I think. And like the fact that like he's kept creating 4 billion different characters and just not doing a lot with them, or they're just not that interesting when he did do something with them. Yeah. But when he's got his chance to do his own thing and make his own brand new universe and stuff, he can do great at it. And like this probably really actually is my favorite book of the week. I thought about it, and it's not like necessarily a gimmick that I put it last, but it's just kind of, I was like, yeah, it fits. And then look, it's a Tynion and some meat and a little bit of lettuce, crappy lettuce towards the bottom. But then there's like bacon and tomato and mayonnaise and cheddar cheese and all the other good stuff in the middle. So yeah, not a bad week for comics, really. Better than a lot of them have been lately. Here's the part of the video I say, please like, subscribe, get notification bell, all that stuff. It really does help, and I'm really trying to get to 1,000. I'm not gonna be one of those jackasses that like changes everything up when I get to 1,000. It'll be the same kind of annoying stuff. But if you like these reviews and you like what I do, it'll all help. And then I know you might have to watch an ad or two if I do get monetized, but that'll help me pay for some of this crap because I buy all these and like they're expensive. And then I'll start doing giveaways and I'll start doing mystery boxes where I can give stuff back to the community and stuff. And I'll have memberships and fun stuff. Maybe you can win some original art for me and all that. But like, please like, subscribe, all of that, please. That's my begging. All right, I'm done begging. I'm out of here. Have a good week. Don't be a dick to each other. Even if you're the last 12 people on the earth or 10 or I don't know. Counting is hard. But yeah, even if you're the last of humanity, don't be a dick. Unless you're stuck in the Dark Ages in your apocalypse. Then you can be a dick. Spoilers. See ya.